Oh boy, the PGA Tour is in huge trouble. It's in huge trouble. And I knew it was in huge trouble for a long time, but it kind of like yesterday, I was listening to sports talk radio, Colin Cowherd. I listen to that guy a lot. And he like led his show. He never talks golf. So you know when he talks golf, and it's rare. Like if he talks golf, it's important. Something's up. Something's really up. And he like led his show off, the herd with the Live Tour and the PGA Tour kind of battle. And I'm just like, I don't believe it. Like maybe in the third hour of his show, kind of at the end, he might talk about it. Every now and then he used to bring in Paul Azinger, I think, and they would talk like some major stuff. But Tiger's not that relevant currently, so there's no need to really talk golf. And he kind of summed it up nicely, and I like how he said it. He's like, the PGA Tour, they're organizers of events. And that's what they do, is they organize events. And back at the PGA Championship this year at Southern Hills, I kind of loved that golf course. I loved the PGA Championship there. It was great. And I did a podcast and talked about, like, why don't more courses do this? Why aren't more courses putting on their own events? Now, that was a major championship put on by the PGA of America, which is different than the PGA Tour, right? The PGA Tour kind of coordinates a bunch of tournaments. They gather sponsors together. They've done a great job over the years of, bringing all of this together and handling all that stuff. And that's what they do. They're organizers. But you look at a tournament like the Masters. The Masters doesn't use the PGA Tour. The Masters organizes their own tournament. It's not only a great tournament, it's the greatest tournament in the world, the most prestigious, the best run, the most branded tournament there is. And so when I saw Southern Hills, I was looking at that golf course thinking, such a great track, such a great event, such a classic looking golf course. Why don't they have their own event? Why don't other tournaments have their own event? And then when Colin Cowherd just talked through the PGA Tour as being organizers, again, it's kind of like, it made sense. I was talking to a pro at Live, and I said, what are your favorite events to play? What are your favorite events? And he said, I love Riviera. I love Torrey Pines. He loved Congressional, right? Plus the major. So I'm thinking, why, if I'm Riviera or Torrey Pines or Congressional or Pebble Beach, if I'm one of these golf courses, why am I not organizing my own tournament? Why do I need the PGA Tour to do it? Why can't we do it? I'll get our tournament committee, we'll get our own sponsors, and you're kind of basically cutting out the middleman, and you're doing it. You're going to have to, there might be a loss of revenue at first, but there's sponsors that are willing to jump on board with that. And what would ultimately happen over the time is that you wouldn't need a different organizer to handle it. So why do I think the PGA Tour is in trouble? Here's why. Because you're getting all these players leaving the PGA Tour to go play Live. All right. And there's going to be more for sure. As people look at it, they're like, that's not so bad. Okay, I could deal with that. Huh, interesting. I could still play the majors. That's cool. And then what's going to happen is my theory is this. They're going to want to get world ranking points. Now, currently, Live isn't going to give you any world ranking points. But you know what will? Is the DP World Tour, which is formerly the European Tour. Now, not a lot of big name players are over there, except the European players. So notice they went from like the European tour to the DP World Tour, meaning they play all over the world, right? And they're DP World sponsored, they're back. I wonder if currently the PGA and the DP World Tour kind of work together. It's like you're that tour, we're this tour, you stay over there, we stay over here. And I don't know what type of real arrangement or writing or agreement or partnership they have or they don't have, if it's written, if it's verbal, if it's nothing, if it's just kind of a handshake, I don't know. But if I'm the DP World Tour, okay, and I see all these high profile, brand name, world-class players, Bryson, Brooks, Phil Mickelson, Abraham Answer now, Patrick Reed, and there's others, right? If I see them going over to live, I'm thinking to myself, that'd be nice if they played over here on the DP World Tour too. I mean, our sponsors would love that if Bryson showed up, if Brooks showed up, if Phil showed up more often. There's only 8 events or so on the Live Tour currently, and then maybe 10 or 12, and then 14 the next year. There's plenty of time for these guys to go over and play other events. So why wouldn't the DP World Tour welcome in these players who have gone over to Live and say, hey, you're welcome to play in our events. We'll let you play. And if they do, guess what? They get world rankings. They'll get world ranking points. And so that would really help them get qualified and exempt into majors. Because as they stop playing world ranked events, they would start dipping in their world ranking, and then they might fall out of the top 50 and thus not be qualified for a US Open or a Open Championship. However, if they play DP World Tour, then they can get those world ranking points. And then remember, they're called the DP World Tour. If all these players start playing Live and DP World Tour, then all of a sudden the PGA Tour is scrambling. They're already scrambling. I mean, Jay Monahan all of a sudden found nearly $190 million. Think about it. They listed out a bunch of tournaments where the total purse went from like 12 million to 20 million or 12 million to 25 million. You're like, how quick did that? Where was all this money hiding all of a sudden? All of a sudden, like 10 events, you upped it another 10, 12 million dollars extra? Just like that, man. That's crazy. And there's other things. There's some no-cut events. I mean, all of this just out of nowhere, like too little, too late, man. Like, you serious? Like, that makes you look even worse. Like, if you're like, it's like if someone's asking you, if you ask your kid if he has any, cookies hiding under his pillow, and he's like, no, we're out of cookies. I don't have any cookies. And then all of a sudden, you grab some cookies over here, and then he's like, oh, I got some for you. And he's got like 50 cookies under his bed. And you're like, dude, you just totally lied to me. Like, well, I don't get that. Like, why would you do that all of a sudden? But they had no choice. They had no choice. They had to. So, here it comes. But like I said, with the DP World Tour, they're poised. They're in position to really kind of take over the World Golf Tour so that there could be Live and DP World Tour, and those could be your 2 major tours. And the PGA Tour is all of a sudden like disintegrated in the next couple years. It would kind of be kind of sad. But based on what's happened, I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. So let me know your thoughts, because it's kind of conspiracy theory thought, but right now, DP World Tour is kind of getting off easy here, whereas PGA Tour is really, really looking worse and worse and worse the longer this drags on. Whereas they could have kind of collaborated from the beginning, but no, they held their ground, and like I said, it all of a sudden finding hundreds of millions of dollars out of nowhere looks a little suspicious it looks a lot suspicious to me. And so I'm thinking these events, one, they could say, we don't need an organizer, we're going to organize. And then DP World Tour could say, we'll let you play over here, guys. Come on. We got you. And then they could, why can't the DP World Tour have an event at Torrey Pines? I mean, does it have to be a PGA Tour, or could it be a DP World Tour event? Would you still watch it? I don't know. Why not? It is Torrey Pines. It is Riviera. Does it have it? I mean, they've got a contract with PGA Tour, but there's a lot of courses that do not in the United States. So don't be shocked. And let me know what you think. If that is even, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm out there and thinking that. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Leave the politics out of this and just your thoughts on the future of these tours. Thanks for listening. Love you guys. See you soon.